out of where sense we share biomate Honorable Sam George air trendy. Now utie the main reason behind his trending na Omampeni Mahamadin Wumbi nebe kaya when NDC was in opposition. And komobi ombabedi year concerning trumu metre rainbow colors no. Nsemnsem say if they come, they will sign it. But unfortunately, last NDC by and they are not doing anything about it. And then Sam George, a boy on story way, or channel the story way, and the story way, or channel story way. Now recently, me say communicate be, and that's information being in our bounty of Moka say Sam George is actually saying say he did that just to bring the NDC to power. Now therefore, if you did that just to bring the NDC to power, why shouldn't it be between you and your party people? But you decided to bring it out. As indirectly, Sam George person say Jimmy, not only us alone, some members of the NDC party, because as it stands now, baby Sam George a hold the position as MP no. A former MP na be din komo. Na in some more catch say Sam George very arrogant. In fact, or a power drunk. Now therefore, ye betie in someone a former Nigo Pram MP ebe kanye. Nidini de Nsemnsem in an interview our Joy News say enodi in common yenti enu famra.
This boy knows how to run, he doesn't know how to hide. And nobody should deceive himself. He cannot win Ningo Pram without my support. This boy has been putting on the Facebook and other places. I've got information that I'm not running. Even after I had fired, it's out there that I'm not running. He said, let it swim in his naivety and ignorance. Politics on the ground is not done in the media.
The last time I spoke with him, he said the people of Ningo Pram say he should thank you for a good job done, but now they want him. And even he said the chief of Ningo Pram. Have you in any way heard, these kind of discussions around?
It's not true. When I heard those things, I said God should have mercy on this boy. God should have mercy on this boy. A hand that has fed you before, you want to bite it, you have to be careful. A hand that has raised you to where you are, and you think that you can mess around. And I am not sad for it, but the parents who knew. I didn't know them for Adam. His sister, when was going to be engaged by the husband in Nigeria. Yes, let me say it. Here, we did it here. You can come out to tell you. We did it here. We did everything. Everything that I treated him like a son. And it is not, it doesn't lie in his mouth. Who is he in Ningo Pram for them to send him to come? For them to send him to come and say thank you to me. What has he ever done there? Before I went to Ningo Pram, before I became a member of parliament, I was serving the place. 1993, I didn't go to parliament. I went to parliament in 1996. In 93, the work that I took to 95. That was why all the elders from Ningo Pram, they sent people to come and ask me to stand. You know what? I don't want to glorify his naivety. He's someone who is naive, someone who is power drunk. I don't know what he thinks, what he wants to do. I don't want to glorify it. That is why I'm being, charitable. I don't want to glorify, but I'm saying that whatever he says is a lie. I've never come across somebody who is not truthful like him.
So why do you think the people of Ningo Pram should retain you?
There is work in progress. The Accra City project, I'm on top of it because of my experience in Accra. Accra City Extension, we call it. I'm on top of it, and it has to be completed. And that is the main, when we're able to do that, open up, set up the structures. When you hit the place now, it's no longer in practice, it's not a district, it's a municipality. The kind of properties and things that we have there. Okay. And this is not for second division players.
Instead of us, I would hear someone Nsemnsem. Edi bebetu Diana, a former Ningo Pram MP Nsemnsem. Edi betu Diana said, "Ni position. ɛna Sam George ayɛ wad agye na wotie nkɔmmɔ ni ya na say nkɔmmɔ ni na is based on what he did for the NDC ɛna wagina so de agye saa position no wotumi hu sɛ Sam George ɔyɛ short man devil, serious one pa na if you've been able to achieve whatever you want in some afi de wo kan you know, why are you not doing it? This has become a concern of Ghanaians. Almost started some who make complaints, be today. They be an say promise moon to me yet. But why do you promise the Ghanaians? Out of war, and someone Sam George can during opposition, and even crying in power. Some in Komobio D and Mepese Beko true back kakra. Yenti Komonibi, and the trumu ni de keka hun rainbow colors or kabibi, yenti no famra.
No to trumu. We need John Dramani Mahama to come and sign the bill into law.
President Mahama has been clear that he will sign that bill, and he has no option than to sign that bill. President Mahama will know no peace from Sam George until he signs that bill. And he himself has said that to the clergy, that as a Christian, as a member of the Assemblies of God Church, he will sign that bill. What?
No to trumu. We need John Dramani Mahama to come and sign the bill into law.
President Mahama has been clear that he will sign that bill, and he has no option than to sign that bill. President Mahama will know no peace from Sam George until he signs that bill. And he himself has said that to the clergy, that as a Christian, as a member of the Assemblies of God Church, he will sign that bill. What?
In that of was a woody in common sending Sam George D. And say, if you are in like Obiadri or Beijing, and say no, Sam George, Nenia Bre, when he comes, he will do something. But unfortunately, this is the same Sam George. Tienin Samuel Kasisia. Or see any comment you see him making on social media, and yes, so you'll be handled in social media account. And on one, and say whatever is going on, he is aware. Yenche video we Tien Komono odi wa decide no. Yebaha, yebe to us we Nsemnsem.
I go on Twitter and choose many which of these comments am I going to respond to. Even though now they say that because I'm a minister, I should slow down. But people ask, am I the one who manages my socials? Yes, I handle all my socials myself. That's my phone. Nobody else touches my social. Nobody has access to my socials. I respond to every single one. You know, but you see.
In this Nsemnsem Sam George can ha. Nessa whatever you see on social media, and so you'll be in a handle account. No, you are speaking to Sam George directly. And so Babe Kasemina and Kuya Mawa no say he is the one. Because on one or two nenum to eka or this side. Now when you go on Twitter, me who say in fact Twitter live because so and the people vet Sam George. Omuchi him say if Sam George you know say you can't do your work, why do you even have to promise and say things you can't do? And I think say the politicians, not only Sam George alone, Ghanaian politicians, no. It's about time young youth now saying into your home for.
Let's say retreating to the NDC, let's say whoever voted for him that the NDC caucus that this is what he did for them. So if they are to make any decision, they shouldn't forget that, because if you, I don't know if you pay so much closely attention to politics, understand the dynamics of politics, everything that you've done for a party is always a reflection of what you achieve, let's say, at the long run, most of the times. Even though sometimes people do change, they can be like, okay, there's this person, he didn't really do anything for the party, but they still give him an appointment based on his expertise. But most of the times, because of what you've done for a party, they try to award you or reward you with something. So, as I said, if you just take your time, let's put all biases aside and just take our time and just read the first, second, third paragraph. You can clearly see that he's just speaking to the NDC caucus, that this is what I did for the party. This is what I did. When all these people were quiet, who were even ministers and held positions and all that, I still spoke. I still had things to say. So anything you do, it's just simply anything you do, think about what I did to bring JM to power. And that is him throwing dust into we Ghanaians our eyes. That's why at that point, that's what he actually spoke to us too, because he's saying that I played with your minds. I had to go any length or any breadth to bring my party back in power. Be it lies, be it what falsehood or whatever it might be. I had to go that breadth to say what I had to say so that you guys will believe me, because at the time, they only leveraged on things that we knew very well that they felt like we needed to hear. Because, I mean, we had issues with, a lot of people had issues with these LGBT issues, like specifically. And he leveraged on that because he knew very well that most Ghanaians wouldn't want to hear that aspect of it. like they will want to say that okay, we don't need that part of it, that part of the culture, that part of it in our culture. So he leveraged on it and spoke about it, making it look like okay, if there's any point in time where he kept his neck out that if his party comes to power, they're going to speak on it. Right now, can we impeach them? We can't impeach your mama. They're in power. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. So we have to just live with the fact that we have to just live with the fact that this has happened. And I heard someone earlier say that you see there are certain things that politicians do. Sometimes they say certain things, but they can't do all. That's not our problem. If you can't do it, you don't say it. Else, which
Say it.
you see, I don't. That's why I have a problem with like sometimes some of the things that we see. Why would you say that because they can't do because they say they can't do everything? We didn't ask you to say it.
It's like you are giving them a way out, like
A way out. Exactly.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
that's why we say we have a manifesto. If you have a manifesto, this is what you are saying that you can do. This is why we should vote for you. So that if we vote for you, you come and do so and so and so for us. So you are saying that the other person who's already incumbent is incompetent enough to do those things. So you have the knowledge enough to come and implement other things. So you can't tell us that right now because you can't do everything. No, you should have known that before you sold it to us, and we voted for you based on what you sold to us. So the moment you say that they can't do everything, which means you are giving the politician a pass. So if we have that mindset, we can hold them accountable for the things that they are not doing. You understand? So I mean, if we are all fighting the same cause. I understand we're all fighting the same, but sometimes like we should deviate from saying certain things because the moment you have the mindset that they can't do everything, then I'm sorry. Then they can just do one thing or two things and say that we don't have money to do the rest of the things, so you push you suffer. And what would you do to them? Unless the person's tenure ends, the person leaves. And look, I've always maintained something. If I don't know how many people follow parliamentary proceedings, if you watch some judge in parliament, he's the most arrogant person in parliament. People talk about Afenyomak. Afenyomak is not actually arrogant, though. Afenyomak is never arrogant. If you've met he's just controversial. Afenyomak is controversial. Some judge is arrogant, like he's extremely arrogant, like he oozes arrogance. If you meet him in person, the way he addresses his colleagues, a lot of the times, and you see, there's something that he does people don't really pay attention to. You see, he has a lot of control over the English language, so he feels like he can play with people's minds.
Yes.
You see,
And he downplays them. If you watch his proceedings there, the way he would downplay some ministers, you people don't watch these things.
So
Come on, we don't want to come on here and be speaking certain things that people feel like, hey, whoa, we are MPPs now, can say, but
you see, that's the thing. You see, I promise, if you
we all want the good thing.
Look, some judge is very condescending. Like he's extremely condescending. Look, he feels like he's better than every single person. So if someone makes a point, he finds a way because, as I said, he has control of the English language. So he finds his way around the whole thing. He says a lot of things without meaning anything. So you end up not listening to like you just throw away your point and make it look like it's just how it's one of the reasons why KB has been holding his how do you call it? And Nana has been holding his neck. Because what happened with that coding something, those are the experts, they know the thing. You came to lie and write a whole thing piece on something you have no knowledge about. And they came to correct you, and now you made it look like they were actually ignorant. And that's how some judges. And the thing, look, I personally I commend him for that because he's very smart. It's a very smart political move for someone to be to that intelligent because it takes a lot of intelligence to be able to manipulate people like this. So look, so I just henceforth I want people to start paying attention to him. Look, he has a lot of control of the English language. He understands the English language properly. So how to maneuver his way around is always like it's always an advantage to him. You understand? So I mean, someone talking about how did they call it? And I was making an earlier point before my network messed up, some 30 minutes ago. You see, Ghanaians are now more interested in the financials, like anything concerning finances, because they say the country is hard. There's no money. They are struggling to pay teachers, public sector workers. We're now even told recently that government had to borrow in the first quarter to pay, how do they call it, public sector workers and all that. So there's no money in the system. So every sector is managing their the finances over there. So with people talking about shuffling, reshuffling, and all that, sometimes not going to reshuffle because right now the limelight is on the roads ministry. That is what is in the airways. That's what's in the airways right now. So even if a scandal of some judge comes, this particular issue comes up right now, that whole road money issue is going to, let's say, cover the whole thing. Is the reason why he's talking about it at this time, so that it's like a camouflage. He's being very smart. People are not even realizing, so he's being very smart. He's saying it in the he's saying this at this time in the midst of a scandal that's already happening. I don't know if I'm trying to make if like people are clocking what I'm saying. There's a big scandal happening, and he decides to imagine all this period. It's been a week, two. Nobody has said anything. This time that Jomama comes out to say that, oh, he needs the road minister to furnish him his office with like whatever documents and documentation or whatever. Sam George makes it look sharp, makes all these tweets so that it will be in the midst of all. So because I mean, Sam George is like, how did they call it? A nail in the haystack. So the road ministry, like, yeah, is a bigger financial institution. They are having everything concerning the finances. So Sam George just says this, and so his issue wouldn't even go anywhere. People won't pay much attention to his issue. You understand? So he's been very smart there. So the only thing we can do is to continue holding his neck till this whole scandal ends. Holding his neck till everything, till he comes out and apologizes. You see, the guy, sometimes will never apologize to people too. He finds a way of calling you stupid. When he realizes he's stupid, as I said, he has control of the English language, so he finds a way of calling people stupid. So the only thing is for us to continue doing is to continue holding his neck on this platform, this X platform. That's the only way we can also get him, because we can't go and sit anywhere. Most of us don't have the platforms on this radio stations or TV stations, and I mean say these things. So it's here that we can have access to him because he's also active here. So it's just as he was able to sell himself and sell the NDC and sell whatever.
Instead of us, who think common send you qua at the end of the aya na you. I feed the any jabba. Na Sisia the year so or Dobroni or Momogi Cahono. Ombean Tabaina.
Okay, so one thing I want to say is that you see the wedding of his,
in fact, I see the Ecosono. Say, Mamma Kusa say, why you name of the man fighting for the right cause.
And slip of tank
out of my first day. Interesting days ahead. Because for the meantime, I'm from Musiana, Mammy whose opinion or comment. Type one updates.
That means that he meant every word that he said. He doesn't really regard us say, oh yeah, like. He doesn't really give a shit about us because data boy and you say obi kofa bifu frobia ne beka you videos dadana. No one has done AI to any of your videos, but just look at the wording of his passage, like letter no asemo kan bia, it was meant like wabshe de mini ade no atro wakan. He's good with the English, as Jollof said. He has meant everything that he said. And Charlie, the guy is arrogant. Once the last time, not Okasa Parliament, or then the left hand, he doesn't really give a damn about anyone. Or then the left, church, say, backbenchers, it's true. People do not really pay attention to parliamentary proceedings. We are not being enlightened on those things. I think in Confucius and man, the guy doesn't really omushi. He doesn't respect anyone. He doesn't really respect anyone. I think they are good, but he's not going to be reshuffled. He's not going to be sacked. Either maybe he's using that to do some cover up to the road ministry.
When they come to us, we ignore them. That's the only thing we can do to help ourselves as the youth and the nation is we have to ignore these two parties. And this is something very deep and painful. I know it will be hard basically. Once the youth are not ready to stand for ourselves, the leaders will continue to use us. And then NDC for some time ago. And then MPP for some time ago. And yes, still when they come, they find ways to enrich themselves. They will go and come again. And still now, no mind that Sujina baby age Ghana at age 60, over 60. I was said by now baby do easy. There are other countries or young drew 13 po or young Andrew 69 one. But which the one will develop it or mukrona. You will love it. But Ghana, see where we did now. Or in the name of politics. Bibiana the politics. Out of war. And then I'll drink for him. I mean, who I drink your comments, subscribe, like, and I share video. No, yeah, the more updates, yeah, the more gist, about Queen.